Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the best women's boxing show, period. JJJ, look at you. You got that wrap. Well, not the wrap, it's the hair.
It's the hair, I've been taking my vitamins and my hair has been growing out of control. I attribute it to my organic gardening.
It is. Okay, well, anyways, I am Cynthia Conte.
And I'm Jeandra LeBeauf.
And we got another one in the can for you. And we're going to have another one even better. But before we get to our guest, so in honor of our guest, we're going to have to talk about a fight that's about to happen. Usually we recap. Yeah, we usually recap a fight. But in this sense, we're going to have to talk about a fight that's going to happen. It's a real true grudge match. And everyone can say the first match, Gennadiy won. The second match was a draw, or whoever won. It really doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. But now it's come to it. The third is coming down September 17th, which will be at
Las Vegas.
Yeah, and
Nevada.
before we bring in our guest, because we'll be like, can we get special VIP passes to a certain person?
I need all access. I want to walk to the ring with them.
I didn't even get that when I did the part two. But okay, so we saw the Jeandra. I don't know if did you see the press conference for Canelo versus Gennadiy 3?
I sure did, and I saw all those spicy sound bites that came out of the press conference. I love a good grudge match. We fighting. This is not a tea party.
Okay, so first of all, Canelo English is amazing.
Payday.
Yep, and then Gennadiy's Kazakhstan Russian is even better because we don't know what the fuck he's saying.
He's talking shit.
Oh, he's totally talking shit. But the way he talks shit is just like, yeah, with the smile, with the ice cold eyes.
It's nasty nice, and I think I'm a queen of nasty nice. I like that.
But okay, so now people ask, did this fight need to really happen?
Of course,
absolutely. Whether the payday's very nice.
Payday.
Yeah. Did you expect it to be the next fight in Canelo after the Bivol lost, because Bivol now has to fight X amount of whoever next. But did you want to see the rematch with Bivol? We've talked about this before. Or did you want to see a Gennadiy, or did you want to see him fight Charlo?
Honestly, if I had to put the three in order, I am 1A and 1B in seeing Triple G fight the rematch with Canelo and fighting Charlo. I'm not really interested in seeing Canelo fight Bivol again, even though I enjoyed the fight. It was a very one-sided fight. Yeah. And I feel like the rematch will look the same, just as I feel like the rematch with Usyk and Joshua is going to look the same. It's going to be a very similar pugilistic match favoring the boxer, which is Usyk in that case and Bivol in this case. But Canelo Triple G has just polarized fans in such a way. Why not? Why not? I'm surprised that it didn't happen before the Bivol fight. But now we're here, and I'm watching. We're going.
It's birthday week. I mean, September is always my birthday week, and someone's gonna. This one, I believe someone's going to knock someone out.
Really?
I really believe it. I don't know who. And we're gonna get to talk to our guest about this, because a lot of people have said age. Gennadiy is 40, and they always say, as you get older in boxing, it takes wear and tear on you. But then I also look at George Foreman.
But then you can also look at Canelo. Canelo's amateur career, he's not old in age, but he's old in ring wear.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that takes a toll as well. And like our buddy Pink Tyson, who was on with us, she said age doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what age Golovkin is, because look at Anderson Silva, look at all these people who have come in later parts of their age to be dominant factors, and this could be a case too. He's a clean living kind of person. So
I mean, crazy enough that he's been a middleweight all his career. You know what?
I need to eat his
right.
diet.
If imagine if all fighters stayed at their same weight class their entire career.
Do you know how much I would enjoy being the same weight I was at like 25 years old?
Right. I'd be like, fine. I'd be walking around naked all damn
day. Period. I agree. I could not agree more. But yes, I am looking forward to it. I love the nasty, nice talking. I like the fan chatter. I like the differences of opinion. And that's what makes it epic. And that's what's going to make it an epic fight week. So it's going to be dope.
I think what's funny is that when Canelo says, he talks really nice of me now once the fight is signed, but the whole time he's saying, I'm dirty, my team is dirty. Okay, to be fair, he did test dirty. And that's why the second fight was postponed. So it's not like it happened. It happened. Okay?
You know what makes that
Whatever
dirty?
happened.
Because these are reported things.
He ate tainted meat.
Right. And it's fair for Golovkin to comment on things that have been said publicly. He's not just making it up.
Yeah, it's fair that he said something because there was a test done and it came out positive. So it's not like it's coming out of Golovkin's ass like saying he's dirty. So I mean, maybe to say. I don't know. I mean, Golovkin decided when I interviewed him, Steve, Kim, and I, we went up to Big Bear to interview him. And when that came out, he only spoke to us in his language. So doing a follow-up questions was quite difficult. And I can just tell you he was really pissed off. When I did that interview for Ring, you guys go check it out. It was a really good interview. He was mad. But so do you think that this fight is a little too late?
No, it's never too late for a good match. I mean, look how long it took Floyd and Pacquiao to fight.
That's true. But yeah, the buildup was so great. And then what if it comes out as a draw?
Well, now
okay.
That sucks.
Okay, and we're going to have to ask our guest. It happened in Vegas. And then for him to come back, because we obviously know the judges saw it a whole different way than a lot of people. Like some of them didn't even believe Golovkin won any rounds, which was so fucking bananas to me. What do you think of it being back in Vegas?
Tax liability.
That's right. And
for no reason else.
They need the money to pay these two out, the bajillion dollars that DAZN owes them.
And it's a great destination for our international fight fans to come and sit by the pool and drink drinks and gamble. Yeah. It's just more fun because everything is concentrated in one area as opposed to, let's say it's in LA at Staples Center. There's lots of hotels and nice things to do there, but you still got to go out to the cut if you want to go to the beach.
Yeah, that's
true. You got to Uber. Gas is high. Don't even get me started on the prices of gasoline. But, you know, it makes sense. Big fight feel, fight capital of the world. Why not?
All right. Well, on that note, well, you know what? Regardless, do you have a prediction?
I don't. Not yet. I will have a prediction. I just don't have one now. I just predict that Twitter is going to be in shambles.
Oh my God. Boxing Twitter is going to be at its best as always. But on that note, we're going to introduce our next guest.
Yes, we are.
Nobody knows Gennadiy Golovkin more than this gentleman. He is a promoter, and I mean, he's only promoted just like some top names like the Klitschko brothers, Cecilia Brækhus.
Who's that?
Gennadiy Golovkin. I don't know. Some guy. See, our share brain. Some guy named Tom Loeffler. Yeah! Welcome to the show. Yes, and now he's 360's Hollywood Fight Nights promoter, and he puts on these great shows, but we're going to get to that. So you got to hear in a little bit, Tom, of what we were talking about, and your thoughts. Okay, honestly, did Gennadiy come and say, should I take this fight next, or should I go fight Charlo? How did the powers that be happen on this one?
Gennady's always wanted the third fight. As you both pointed out correctly, the first two decisions were very controversial. I don't think there was any question in a reasonable person's mind that saw the first fight that Triple G won that first fight. Even one of your mentors, Cynthia Harold Letterman, had it 8-4.
Yeah.
For and that seemed to be pretty general consensus from the ringside media. Naturally, the fans are going to go with whichever fighter that they bet on. Although a lot of Canelo fans came up to us afterwards and said that Triple G won the fight. But anyway, it was a controversial decision. It was a draw, so Triple G got to keep his titles. The second fight was clearly much closer. But we don't think that Canelo did enough to win or to take the titles, and that's what happened. One of the judges scored it for, both of those, just to back up a little, scores would have been different. Outcomes would have been different if one judge would have scored one round differently on their card. Then Triple G would have won the first fight and would have had a draw in the second fight. And, as you mentioned, that one judge, we don't need to mention her name, but how she scored 10 rounds in the first fight doesn't make sense. But to make it even more controversial, if one of the other three judges had scored the seventh round, which was probably Gennady's best round for Gennadiy, then Gennadiy would have won the fight. So I don't know. It's a lot of back and forth. And then, like you said, Canelo did test positive. He actually tested positive twice, which
Yes,
I think you only mentioned one time, but he failed 2 tests, which resulted in the 6-month suspension of the Nevada Athletic Commission. And that's what really made Gennadiy upset, because he's always been focused on being very clean, training very hard. Canelo has said that it was tainted meat in Mexico. The official results said it could have been either tainted meat, or it could have been. It was to be fair, it was a very low amount of clenbuterol, and the official said that it could have either been from tainted meat, or it could have been, at the end of a cycle, and there was just a small amount. I still don't know. Maybe you guys can research this for me, because it never came out from the Nevada Athletic Commission. How many steaks or how much meat do you have to eat to test positive for clenbuterol? I don't know. I know Gennadiy's eaten a lot of steaks over his over his life and never tested positive, so I'm not sure. And that's really where that animosity came from Gennadiy. He's always respected Canelo as an athlete. Canelo is truly one of the, top boxers in the sport of boxing, and certainly one of the most marketable. That's what makes these matchups between Triple G and Canelo so fan-friendly or so interesting, because they both have 2 huge fan bases, 2 global fan bases. Yeah. And when you get 2 fighters like that together that both can sell out an arena, and sold out many arenas on their own fights, when you get those 2 fan bases together, that's what makes it such a compelling fight. And, the fight was supposed to happen, according to DAZN, in 2019, 1 year after the second fight. Mm-hmm. In fact, that's pretty much what they signed Gennadiy under, is because they wanted to have the third fight, and then Canelo sued his promoter and DAZN in order not to have that fight in 2019. So there's a lot of conspiracies out there that say that he waited until Triple G was 40 in order to fight him. Now it's an interesting time now, because Gennadiy's coming off a big win in Japan against Murata, another world champion. Yeah. And Canelo's coming off of a loss. So before, when people are saying Triple G's 40, Canelo's at the top of his game, now it looks a lot more competitive. And at 168, you're right, staying at 160 pounds his entire career, Gennadiy's very dedicated, very focused on what he does outside the ring, even when he's not training. His eating habits, doesn't hang out, no alcohol, anything like that. And for him to stay at 160 pounds his entire career, he always said that if there was a fight at 168 that was compelling, that would make sense, he said he would have fought Carl Froch at Wembley Stadium. It would have sold out Wembley Stadium back a long time ago, when Chavez Jr., with the legendary name, said that he would fight him at 168. We were close to making that fight with Top Rank and with Bob Arum. But now with this fight with Canelo 3, it's a huge fight, and so Gennadiy has absolutely no problem moving to 168 and fighting at that weight. He's 40, but as you also pointed out, Canelo started boxing when he was 15, so he's got, in terms of number of years fighting, Canelo has a lot more years fighting than Triple G does professionally.
Can I ask you just about the timeline, Tom? We saw Canelo in the fight against Dmitry Bivol. So when you watch, as a promoter of Triple G, when you watch a fight like that, is the loss satisfying to see him get a chink in the armor? Ooh. And also, were you guys already in the thick of things of making the third fight when the Bivol fight was happening?
Good question, Jay.
I took my Wheaties today.
Bivol's a likable guy. So I'm sure Gennadiy was cheering for him in that fight. It was interesting, not necessarily to see Canelo lose, but to see Canelo lose a decision in Las Vegas. I didn't think that was possible, honestly, with a score of 10 rounds to 2.
Right. It's
for
possible.
A fight that most people thought he won. You wonder, what do you have to do to win a decision in Las Vegas against Canelo? There's a new executive director now that's there, and hopefully this time around, if Gennadiy performs the way he did in the first 2 fights, hopefully he'll get some of those close rounds that he didn't get when he was a champion. The other interesting role reversal here is that Triple G was a champion the last 2 times they fought each other, and this time Canelo is the undisputed 168-pound champion, which makes him the champion coming into the ring, and Gennadiy the challenger. So we hope that trend continues, where the challenger gets the nod in this trilogy.
At 168, how does he feel? I mean, obviously, because he's much older now. Does he feel better at this age? I mean, or at this weight class? Does he feel stronger? Does he feel faster? What does Gennadiy feel, or what do you see?
Well, anyone that gets older knows the metabolism slows down. So I'm pretty sure moving to 168, not that he couldn't make 160 anymore, because he just did that for the Murata fight in Japan and made it comfortably. He's got a great chef. Shout out to James Lockwood, who has been a great addition to his team, and naturally Jonathan Banks is training him at this point. But so he made 160 easy for the Murata fight, which isn't easy. You know, I wanted to go back, and I wasn't as vocal on social media as I normally would be for that fight, because there's a lot of superstars in the U.S. that never leave the U.S. that are champions and never want to go either fight another champion overseas or defend their titles overseas. And Gennadiy has done that a number of times. He sold out the O2 Arena in London against Kell Brook. He sold out Saitama Arena against Murata. The famous fights, the 3 fights he had in Monaco, where Prince Albert was there, and Princess Charlene, and so it's been an interesting road for Gennadiy, fighting all over the world, and that's one thing you got to give him credit for. That's one thing you got to give Devin Haney credit for, when he went to Australia and fought over there, and so that was nice to see Devin do that. Unfortunately, in the past, you didn't really see a lot of American champions risking their title. I mean, they might go over to challenge for a title, but not like Triple G was a champion and went to England, or Triple G was a champion to unify in Japan, because it's so many different conditions. First, you have the jet lag, then you have you're living out of a hotel, you have different food program, and just the whole thing is so much different than if you're fighting in your comfort zone, in your home commission, theoretically, or home base, and it's much easier to that. So it was nice to see Gennadiy do that. And with Canelo, as I mentioned, with Canelo losing against Bivol, you could say, Bivol kind of put the blueprint out there. You got to give him a lot of credit. He had the long reach. He definitely had some very clear rounds where he was snapping Canelo's head back. I think Gennadiy was landing just as many punches as Bivol was, but there were a lot of Gennadiy's punches were short and fast, and sometimes the judges, if they're not at the right angle, they might not have seen those punches. But Bivol had him backing up, and when he landed some of those long shots, you could see Canelo's head snapping back, and that was a lot easier to score those punches than some of the punches in the first 2 fights with Triple G and Canelo.
In the press conference that we've seen leading up to it, obviously not too long ago, Canelo has said that Gennadiy looks mad, and Gennadiy just is, well, I don't give a shit. I don't care. But does Gennadiy, how does he feel about Canelo? Like, I know it's a fight. He's just like, he's very, very grateful that the 3rd fight, it's for the fans, and it's almost like a script, which I understand, because it is for the fans, because a lot of people said they don't want to watch it, but I damn well know they're going to either stream it, they're going to steal it, they're going to watch it, they're going to buy the fight, they're going to buy tickets for the fight, because they want to see how this ending happens. God forbid it's another draw. But I don't know. I mean, come on, Tom, just let us know. What does Gennadiy say? I mean, he's so...
Is
Tom, you know.
How do you... Can you tell us how to say "fuck that dude" in like Russian or something like that?
That was an interesting dynamic. I wasn't expecting that too much, that Canelo was so angry. Look, I've seen Canelo on a number of occasions personally at different fights. When Chocolatito fought in San Diego, and he was down there, and I said hi to him. And like I said, I have respect for him and everything that he's accomplished in his career. Certainly a global superstar that can sell out arenas, arguably the biggest ticket seller that we have right now in the sport of boxing. But I was a little bit surprised at how angry Canelo kind of appeared at the press conference, when you would have thought you got 2 decisions that were controversial and both went your way. You'd think,
right?
I'm actually, I should be happy that I'm fighting Triple G again, especially at 40. because he kind of got two decisions that probably could have gone a different way with different judges or different location. So that was interesting, and like you said, that Gennadiy was just kind of laid back. He's going with the flow. He's happy that the fight's happening.
Yeah.
Not only financially, because this is a very marketable fight. Again, we set for the first fight. I think we had the third highest ticket sales record in Nevada boxing history, where they had so many huge thing that. In terms of the marketability of this fight. And I think that's why you're seeing this fight happen instead of a rematch with LeBeauf, is because this is the more marketable fight, and one that, the fans are interested in terms of the trilogy happening right now.
I know this is a question that's kind of in the weeds, but going back to what you're saying, that maybe the judges didn't have the right perspective, or what are, in some of the other fights, are you an advocate of judges just, mixing up the whole thing and changing the way boxing is done, and that maybe putting judges at an elevated perch, a different perspective, a different angle? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because I've seen that argument before, that just from that perspective, even being ringside media, it's hard to see what is going on. Mm-hmm. And we have the luxury of doing this and looking at the computer, but the judges, it's very traditional, very old school, and it's always done the same way. Do you like the idea of just changing the whole dynamic of what judging looks like in terms of point of view?
That's a good question, and it's probably been entertained for a while. I'm an advocate of anything that gives the judges a better perspective. I actually think the judges should have the benefit of a monitor. Mm-hmm. If there's, if the fans can see the monitor, and even the commission can see monitor afterwards, see instant replay and see maybe punches landed, as in other sports, whether it's football, tennis. I was just watching Wimbledon, whatever it is. You have the assistant of a replay on a controversial call, but the judges don't have that advantage. And look, like I said, 1 point of one round or 1 point of one judge would have changed the scores on both fights. And, those are, when you're talking about careers, imagine if Triple G had won both of those fights. Canelo is in the pound for pound discussion, and Gennadiy would be undefeated at that point. And, financially, it makes a huge difference to each other's careers also. So I definitely would be an advocate, whatever it is. Some people have said, earphones so that they don't hear the crowd noise, because sometimes judges get influenced by the crowd when they don't see a punch, but they hear the crowd reaction. Mm-hmm.
I remember Mauricio from WBC. We had this conversation, and he's had this conversation with other people about the judging at the conventions. And they said maybe put him up in like one of the suites, give him a monitor with no sound, or now we've seen it that they put earphones on them. But it's like, because what we see on a television is so different from the mat. They don't get to see all the angles that we get to see, or even from ringside. So it's still one of those things that they're still trying to figure out. There's no right answer, really.
Yeah, that's why sometimes if there's, like I was mentioning, if there's a punch like a hook that might have been blocked by the body from one judge, but the other two judges might see it.
Yeah,
as an example. But and that's why I think a lot of times on TV, the TV audiences a lot of times have a different opinion than the live audience. First, the live audience is sitting down, the ring's elevated.
Yeah.
So the people in the stands are looking down. But the camera angles are usually looking down, and so they're a much clearer angle with the cameraman picking up the punches than sometimes with the live audience.
Mm-hmm. So true.
It depends on how involved the referees are too. I remember watching something like East Coast referees have a style where they're more in the mix, and West Coast ones stand and observe, or maybe it's the other way around. But
we're never satisfied. I'm like, get off of them, let them fight it out. And then some of them are like, dude, you need to break them up because
just
it's too much
Kenny
hugging.
Bayless in. Just let him do all the fights.
No, who's the one that has
Kenny Bayless,
the eyes?
Over on the East Coast, love your job like
That's Steve Willis.
Yes. Yeah,
Steve Willis.
exactly.
He's one of my favorite
Steve
referees.
Willis,
He's very good, actually. He's a very good referee.
Yes, he is.
Okay,
There's some very good referees out there. New York has some good referees. California has some great referees. Jack Reese is an outstanding referee out here.
Yeah, I saw Sparkle Lee's getting more opportunities. Shout out to women referees.
Yeah, the women refs. They a lot of them are on the 360 cards.
Oh,
yeah, I've got to met. Okay. Can you just do a? I know that we have to go through Fred, but can you just let him know that we would love to interview him?
Yes,
please.
Just
say the girl from Ring. I do know a little bit of Russian, a little bit, not a lot. Yeah, and she knows. I don't know what. What's your German?
Oh, not that. Not those words. Guten Morgen, was machst du?
Good Morgan, yeah.
Yeah, let's see. I can count to 10 because my godmother's German, and I was playing bid whist with her, my godfather, when I was like 4 years old, and she'd always count her 1, 2, 3, 4. She used to count her cards to make sure she had enough cards.
There you go.
I can say kindergarten.
Okay.
I can say sauerkraut. I can say Liebchen. Ab der Liebegut.
Listen, you know a lot more words than I thought. You could do a full interview in German.
Jeandra has a good German. Next time I see Jeandra on the boat,
I'm rolling. We rolling out
on the yacht.
Exactly.
The yacht that I don't know who's been invited to. I haven't been invited on it, so
I'm going because I'm gonna speak German. That's how I talk myself onto the boat. I'm the translator.
He'll remember you from all those media lunches we had down there going up to Big Bear training camps.
So fun.
Naturally, all the fights he had here in the LA area.
Yeah, we would love to. We would love for him to be just a guest on the show.
He would be great. I remember one of the oldest ones was when the big talk. Oh, I'm sorry, Cynthia. I got to ask you about this, Tom, since we got you. We never really talked about this. When all the talking was going back and forth when they wanted Triple G to fight Andre Ward. And I remember we had a media lunch. That was the first time I ever met our colleague, Michelle Phelps. Shout out to Michelle Phelps. We were at this luncheon. And Gennadiy had his luncheon first. And I can't remember who he was fighting at the time. And then Ward came after. And Gennadiy had on a shirt with Muhammad Ali. And there's pictures of him and Ward. Ward looking dusty, of course, looking like disinterested. Gennadiy happy and smiling. And that picture got used so many times over the years. And who took that picture?
You.
This girl right here.
Did you get paid?
Of course not.
Of course not.
Everybody and their mama uses that picture when they talk about Gennadiy and Ward. So back to that time, how serious was that? How did that make you guys feel? How did that make Gennadiy feel? Because there was always, he needs to go up, Ward needs to go down. They need to fight each other. Maybe they do this, whatever. So during that time, what was Gennadiy's thoughts? What were your thoughts? Did you like the idea of that fight? What was that era like?
A lot has been made about that, and Gennadiy was just always, he was fighting, he was knocking guys out, he was selling tickets, and I don't know where the issue became on Andre's side, because Andre, in his own right, had a tremendous career. He didn't reach the marketability level that Triple G did in terms of selling out arenas, and that's another example I could say, as far as he didn't have that international fan base that Triple G did, because he only fought here. But I remember that clearly, Jeandra. We did have a double media lunch. Dan Goosen, that was, I think it was the Ishida fight. I believe it was the Ishida fight, essentially. Yeah. And it was when Gennadiy was fighting in Monte Carlo, and then I think Andre had a fight over here somewhere in LA, and and so Gennadiy, we wrapped up our media lunch and we were walking out, and one of the guys says, "Oh, there's Andre, can you take a photo with him?" Ask Gennadiy if you could take a photo with Andre, and I don't think Andre was expecting that, and so Gennadiy's like, "Yeah, sure," and then like you said, Andre's like just kind of like had a kind of a strange look on his face, and but Gennadiy didn't care. He was just happy that he was fighting on HBO and opportunities to defend his title. And then the whole thing came about. I think it became a competition where, since Gennadiy's popularity had increased so much, a fighter from Kazakhstan whose English wasn't that good, but had a big fan base, a lot of Mexican fans, and it was, he had an exciting fight every time he got in the ring. And Andre was always a little bit more cautious, and he even said about that, it's more important for him to be healthy and speak well, which he does. He's a great commentator. Than to put on exciting fights, and I think that's where the fan base disparity came about. And then out of the blue, once the whole history with the WBC. Well, Canelo vacated the title when he was convincing everyone that he was not a 160 pounder, but he was a 154 pounder. He had vacated the title, and then that's when Triple G was the mandatory for that fight. Actually, no, backing up before that, Gennadiy, we were going after Sergio Martinez. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Gennadiy became the
sexy
right.
Sergio.
That's right.
Sergio Martinez. That's what started the whole thing. The whole thing was Gennadiy fought Marco Rubio and shattered the attendance record at StubHub.
He hurt
the
Marco.
former
He
StubHub.
my
hurt
God, I
Rubio
remember
bad.
that.
I remember that.
Bless
I think
his
Nicholas
heart.
Hamilton was on that card, I think.
We had some great undercards with the Triple G fights, but that was total sellout against Rubio, and then he became the mandatory for Sergio Martinez, and so Sergio wanted to fight Cotto, and so I'd agreed with Mauricio. Okay, let them do their fight, and then Triple G will become the mandatory for the winner of that fight, and then Cotto won, and then naturally Cotto wanted to fight Canelo, and Triple G was still the mandatory, and then Canelo won that fight, and so Canelo inherited that mandatory, which had been going on for over a year at that point. And then part of the deal there was we had agreed between Golden Boy, WBC, and the Triple G side that Canelo could do one defense with no step-aside fees. And Cotto paid a huge step-aside fee not to fight Triple G. And I was telling Cotto's and Mauricio, I was saying, we don't want the Triple G doesn't want the step-aside fee. He wants the title.
Yep.
They can fight, but just give up the title so that Triple G could have, because his focus at that point was unifying all the titles. That's another reason why he stayed at middleweight for so long.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to unify. And that's how the whole rivalry came about with the Canelo fight. But then to get back to your Andre Ward question, is that once he was guaranteed the winner of Cotto Canelo, which whoever would have won that fight would have been a huge pay-per-view fight.
Right.
Rock Nation sends over this offer. Would you move up to 168 and fight Andre Ward? It'll be split 50-50. And I responded, I just said, look, he's mandatory for Cotto Canelo winner. Once he gets that fight and then unifies at 160, then he'll be happy to discuss Andre Ward fight. And then somehow Andre turned that into Triple G was afraid to fight him and turned down the offer. And I don't know why he used that to try to market his career, because he had a great career. He had the Super Six wins, and
no matter what, he's a Hall of Famer now. So
exactly.
He just got Hall of Famer.
I still wanted you to have the belt drive at the Forum when he wanted all the belts. I think you guys should have done a Christmas thing where you were collecting belts for people who need them, and have Triple G out there collecting belts.
That's Jeandra, that's a good idea. Yeah, because he was really trying to unify, and I thought if anyone could unify the division, it was Triple G, because he didn't care where he had to go. In fact, we made that big offer to Billy Joe Saunders to go to the UK and fight him.
That was some drama
UK.
too.
And that was drama. Yeah, we made the big offer to Billy Joe Saunders to unify, then to Chris Eubanks Jr., and they both turned it down. And then Kell Brook, a welterweight who was the number one welterweight at the time, agreed to take the fight for the same exact dollars that that Eubank was offered. But anyway,
we're going to clip all this because these new age boxing fans on social media like to complain a lot, and they don't know all of this historical stuff like we do, because these are new age fans.
Anyone that complains about the opponents of Triple G fights, you just got to ask the other people who were offered career high paydays.
And they're like, nope.
Career high paydays to get into the ring with Triple G, and they turned it down. And 3 world titles. I've never had a fighter who had unified all 3 titles and people were still turning down fights to fight him. I've never had that before, whether it was, any of the guys I was fighting with. It's like people would jump at the chance of fighting for a world title, but not with Triple G. They didn't want to get in the ring at that time.
But now I see Chris Eubank Jr. is like Gennadiy. I'm like, how many years later is this?
And also Jake Paul.
Yeah. Jake Paul's just a whole different world.
That's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole other thing.
Folks is talking. I remember what it was with Chris Eubank, the pen. Didn't Triple G ask him if he could find his pen?
pen? His
That's
pen?
right. He
His
lost
ink
his
pen. He said he couldn't sign because he lost
that's
his
right.
pen.
That's right.
See, Tom, let them know. We're going to clip all this out. And like how they do that show, Drunk
you're
History.
right.
We're going to do that show like Drunk History, but we're going to call it like Boxing History, and we're going to put like a black and white overlay over it.
Oh, my
and
God.
It's just going to be Tom
Don't
like
tell
narrating
people.
them
We
that.
can
Well,
totally
they're not
do
going to
this.
see it till later.
That's true. That is
So
true.
yeah, Tom, we're going to hook you up with a
We
segment.
we could do a history of Triple G sometime when we're not promoting the Canelo fight.
Oh my God, that would be
fun.
that would be fun. Okay, that's going to be our job. Don't tell anyone this, Tom.
No track talk with Dougie.
No, but no track talk with Coach.
Don't call Steve Kim.
It's
until
ours.
after we do ours.
It's ours. Okay, so we're gonna have to move on. We love Gennadiy. We're going to be at the fight. We decided not to go to the Shields Marshall. The Shields
Tom.
Marshall
Thanks, Tom.
and Alicia or the Michaela Mayer Baumgardner because A, it's way too close. B, it's way too expensive, and it's the week right before Vegas. So we're going to be working the fight week. So we expect some like red carpet interviews. Just be like, these girls. Wait,
We want to
you
sit
know
in the
what?
locker room when he's getting his hands taped.
they
We
won't let us.
I'm
They
kidding.
don't let women in. God, Thino's able to get in because he's a boy.
I know.
Ellie's, you know what? Whatever. Okay, so we also know
I
that
expect that fight with Savannah Marshall and
you do.
and, Shields.
You
Yeah,
had
that's a good
Shields.
fight.
So you had the final HBO show. It was a 360 show, and it was an all female card, and I was excited because I got to call the undercards with Kevin Kelly,
Storm and Rain,
and it was so amazing, and Cecilia Brækhus was on that card, and then Clarissa Shields was on that card. So for her to be fighting this grudge match in UK, it's the biggest women's fight right now, in women's.
Cecilia broke the glass ceiling at HBO. 45 years of never having a female boxer on the air, and we did that. In fact, we did that going back to when Canelo got suspended.
Yep.
And Triple G fought Bonas. And then Chocolatito was supposed to be the co-feature of that fight.
Yep.
He got injured, so that allowed Cecilia to become the co-feature. So she was the first female to be shown on HBO, which goes back to Layla Ali, who we did the fight with Layla fighting on one of Vladimir's shows when Vladimir Klitschko fought at the Madison Square Garden, and HBO refused to show Layla's fight, but they wanted to do an interview with her father, who was in attendance, and we said, "Why would we
That's
allow
retarded."
you to do that with Muhammad when you're not going to show Layla?" And the only reason Muhammad's there is to see his daughter fight.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
before anything, you do also have some big fighters. You also have the First Lady of Boxing, Cecilia Brækhus, as you just mentioned. We noticed that she did sadly lose her undisputed title to Jessica McCaskill in the welterweight division, so she's moving up. We haven't seen her in the ring since then, but she is fighting, which is actually incredible. She's fighting in her home country, where she was born in Colombia. And if you guys don't know really her story, it's a fascinating story, which we need to get her on the show still too. She was adopted at 2 years old by Norwegian parents. So for her to go back to Colombia and fight is a big honor. And she was also one of the females that had to fight to be in boxing because it was illegal.
That's right.
So much more about her story, but we'll get into.
She has a big story.
She has a great story. And so, but she's fighting the undefeated WBC junior middleweight champ Patricia Bergholt. Why the move up? Why not retire? I mean, everyone said, Jessica McCaskill said, "I'm going to retire." Was retirement on her mind at one point, or to move up?
Cecilia has never mentioned retirement. She wanted to fight for another world title, and the opportunity presented itself to fight, to move up to and fight for the 154-pound WBC title, and that's the route that she's decided to go. And if she wins that fight, there's another title fight waiting in the wings, but you never want to get ahead of yourself. But Cecilia is a pioneer, and what she's accomplished, 3 Guinness Book of World Records, a lot of things that she's accomplished, which I'm very proud of her. And also what I mentioned about being on HBO and the first the first headline fight on HBO. Remember, Halle Berry came to that fight.
Yeah.
When,
Hook us up with her, too.
Oh yeah, you can with Chris Cyborg. Tom, we know what?
We good with Chris Cyborg.
We got Chris Cyborg. We were supposed to have her in, we were going to try to have her in today, but she ended up leaving.
She left yesterday. If we would have filmed yesterday, we would have had Chris in the studio with us. So please, Tom, please hook us up.
Now that they have the Katie, they're like, who could Chris Cyborg fight? Is Katie Taylor? And I'm thinking it should have been Cecilia. Should have been Cecilia. But
we were talking about that fight with Cyborg and Cecilia when she was undisputed.
Sure was.
And Cyborg's got a huge fan base herself.
She does, and I would love to see her in the ring. Okay, so I hate rushing through this because. But at least we got the Gennadiy, we got Cecilia. We can't wait to see her back in the ring. More pressing matters. You got the Klitschko brothers. We've talked about this when I've texted you. How are they doing in Ukraine because of this whole war that's been happening? Sadly, it is still happening. How are they? Have you spoken to them? And I know one of them just had a birthday. I think Vitaly did. I'm not sure.
Vitaly, who's right there.
Yeah, I see that.
That's a great
right behind. That was the first K2 promotion show that we did.
Yeah.
At Staples Center against Corey Sanders for the vacant WBC Heavyweight Championship that Lennox Lewis had actually vacated instead of doing the rematch. So that painting is still from the very first K2 show that we did. And K2 holds the record for the most heavyweight championship promotions this century. And they're continuing it with Alexander Usyk because Alexander Usyk's with K2 Ukraine. So
is there still a K2 Ukraine?
Usyk, yeah, sure. Yeah,
I didn't know if it was still around because I know that you were with K2, so I didn't know if it was still a thing. I didn't know because
K2 Ukraine. Alexander Kazyuk runs K2.
Okay, because I thought Usyk was with Aegis, and no, he's not with DAZN.
He's manager.
Yeah, I didn't know.
But Aegis is Aegis is on the management side.
I didn't know if he was with DAZN officially. I don't know how. Wait, is it okay?
Tricky.
Is it? Do you remember? Do you know if the Usyk versus Joshua card on DAZN or Sky Sports?
It's on Sky. I think they outbid them.
How the hell are we going to watch it? We don't have Sky.
I'm sure they'll figure out
Team
a way.
Stream.
Wait. Which camera are we? The Best Women's Boxing Show does not condone illegal streaming.
No, we don't.
Online. Purchase your fights. We do not condone.
Well, we can't purchase it if we can't watch it.
The Best Women's Boxing Show does not condone illegal streaming online.
Yeah. Okay, back to that. Okay, so how are the Vitaly and Vladimir? We see what's happening, and it's almost like, I don't want to say an afterthought, that it's almost like another day of bombing, and just I see them that they're really championing for help, and it's really sad. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, in fact, it was, as you mentioned, it was Vitaly's birthday on Tuesday, and yesterday he just got the award for the Arthur Ashe
the ESPYs
Award for Courage at the ESPYs.
Yeah.
So it's odd. I text with Vladimir and with Vitaly on his birthday. It's difficult what they're going through over there. Sergey Bochuk was stuck over there, and there's
Is he still there?
Yeah, he's kind of like we're trying to get him out, but it's not easy. You need like special permission for sportsmen and the whole thing. But I have lots of friends that I've met through the Klitschkos over there, and just listening to the stories and seeing the videos of what's happening over there is just heart wrenching. What's happening over in Ukraine. So. Our thoughts and prayers go out to both Vitaly and Vladimir and people of Ukraine just suffering those horrific attacks that they're going through over there.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that we hate to see it, but boxing it's given us some insight of what's happening there, and there's a whole world out there besides boxing. But on a lighter note,
and it was. With Cynthia remember the WBC convention was just over there in Kiev.
Yeah.
And Vitaly's the mayor of Kiev.
Yeah.
He Vladimir just got inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to attend because, he's over there. They're all fighting for their country. So it's unfortunate what they're going through, but you really show a true sense of character. Both great fighters, great champions in the ring. But I have to say their strength and courage and fearlessness outside the ring, what they're going through right now, is just to a whole different level.
That's terrible. Well, our thoughts and prayers are with them and the whole country and everyone that's affected by this whole thing.
Yes, it is.
All right, we're going to switch gears. Don't want to be rude in that situation, but one of the big reasons why we have you on is because near and dear to my heart is 360 Hollywood Fight Nights. It's a fight.
That's right.
You were the
MC.
Yeah, I was
night,
the
bitches.
MC. Yeah, I haven't said that. It's fight night, bitches. That was my is my tagline. I got to be able to interview these fighters, some prospects coming up in the ranks, and just some female fighters. And it was a fun club show. It was in Hollywood, and now it's in Montebello at the Quiet Cannon. And I see that now you are officially, congratulations, with the UFC Fight Pass. So you got Mr. Dana White involved.
Big bank
for you, Howler.
Big bank Loeffler.
Right? You got to introduce us. Hello. Yeah. And so
Dana came to the last
I know.
show. He came to the show
I saw the post. He's like, this
really
is a
liked
fight.
it.
Yeah. And I was watching some of the fights last night and doing my homework, and he was really just like, oh shit, oh my God. And so now that I don't even know what edition this is, what installation, like 10? I don't remember. I'm very sad I'm not involved anymore because y'all don't hire me because I live in Vegas. No, it was stupid COVID, but I get it. I understand.
I want to be a producer on the show. Book me as a producer.
But so we have, I remember Sergey Bohachuk, Akhmedov was also, they were the headliners, and now you have a kid named Callum Walsh. This kid is, I don't think he's gone. I mean, he needs rounds, Tom. Callum Walsh from Cork, Ireland, lives coming out of Long Beach. He's trained by Freddie Roach himself. Yeah. He's a knockout artist, but he's a fan-friendly fighter, and he's just fun. It's just like he knocks him out, but I want to see rounds because I want to see him tested. Do you ever tell him that? Like maybe kind of go easy on the guy? I'm not sure.
Well, this is his fourth fight. This is a big step-up fight.
Oh yeah, Whitaker, right?
Benjamin Whitaker, yeah. If you look at BoxRec on their ratings, Callum's rated like number 515 in the world, and Whitaker is like 200, 204, something like that. So it's a huge step-up fight for him. I don't know how many rounds it's going to go. I think Callum is one of the most talented guys that I've seen in the ring. Freddie said the same thing. That's why we signed Callum, because he said it's one of the, out of all the young fighters he works with, all the fighters he works with, it's one of the most talented young fighters. He had a great amateur career, 6-time national Irish champion, European gold medalist. He's a southpaw, big power, and he's an exciting fighter. He's kind of along the lines, when everyone says, like, I see the next Triple G or this, whatever, there's never going to be another Triple G. No. But Callum has that same explosive power. He's tall, and he's exciting. And Dana has taken a big liking to him, and he's really supported the Hollywood Fight Nights, and we're trying to increase the profile of boxing on UFC Fight Pass. Make sure to watch it August 4th. It's a Thursday, and you can get a subscription to UFC Fight Pass and get all the content, not just the boxing. And it's really interesting. I didn't have a subscription before, and then when we started working together, I've been watching a lot of the content, and they have a lot of great content on that channel. So make sure to watch Callum Walsh. I think he's the up-and-coming rising star, especially with an Irish fan base. You can't go wrong with that.
I have an idea, Tom. Why don't you tell Dana White that we do a boxing show?
Come on, share a brain.
And then you can say these ladies have been in business, and they could do a show for you on UFC Fight Pass.
They could just pick up this distribution.
Specifically for 360. I am not new to your crowd. I'm just saying, Tom. You know,
they don't have
so we can all start working
together.
Yeah, right, and then we can start putting more females on the card.
Exactly.
Because
they're next door. UFC's right next door to our new building.
They are. We're off of Jones. We're on the other side. Yeah. That's how close. We can say, hi, Dana. Okay, so then we also have Callum Walsh is no stranger to Emmanuel Pacquiao Jr. He's fought on some some cards with him, amateur cards, and he'll be fighting again. This is his second time, correct, on the Hollywood Fight Nights?
Second time on our show. Callum has got some great sparring down there at the wild card. He just sparred with Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Ooh, I did see that. I was
You
gonna
talk
say,
about
yeah.
world-class sparring. That was some great sparring between those guys. And Emmanuel Pacquiao Jr., he trains with Marvin Smodio, who's another outstanding trainer.
Who's also
down there
been
as
in
a
his
wild card.
dad's
So,
corner, Manny Pacquiao, Senator Manny Pacquiao. So Marvin is no stranger to the Pacquiao name. So,
yeah.
okay.
And he's a fan. You know, a lot of people come out just to see Manny Jr.
Absolutely.
fight.
Do they call him Jimwell or they call him Emmanuel?
You know what? It depends who you talk to. I've heard him call anything from Eddie Jr. to Jinwell to Emmanuel Jr. So I can't really answer that question.
I'll ask him because we're going to interview him. So I may as well ask him.
Depends on who you talk to.
All right, and then I saw a little bit on your card. You do feature female fighters because you are one of the very first promoters alongside Lou DiBella, who's always been promoting females, as we know. Cecilia Brækhus, and you've had Callie Reese on your cards, Clarissa Shields, and now to see all the trajectories of their careers. Callie Reese, we interviewed her. She's now an actress. So great. If you haven't seen her interview, Tom, you need to watch it. But you have Elvina White. I remember interviewing her. She's going to be fighting Juarez, who Juarez fought against Chelsea Anderson, who Anderson beat. So I like these, and they're very. You put on what I like about. Is it Chris? What's his name? Chris, your matchmaker, Chris Bosch. Is that Chris Bosch?
Oh, Charles Boziger.
We need to edit that.
He put on some great matches.
He's a really good matchmaker. Very these fights, you don't know who's going to win, but you guys don't feed just people for an easy win, and that's what I love about 360. And girl, you need to go. It's right there in Montebello. Go.
Jeandra,
can you take care of her? Can you give her the red carpet? Can you go introduce her to Dana White?
Dana down there.
I'm gonna talk to Big Daddy Dana and be like, Dana, what you need? You need a women's boxing show, or no, just a women's fight show. I mean, that's specific to them.
He does feature a lot of females on UFC.
I know some of their talent over there. I've been in some media stuff.
I think
with
it's
them.
time to start featuring more women. Tom, why don't you help us hook us up?
Exactly.
Jeez, come on, Tom. But yeah, so. Sadly, we're gonna have to go.
But I do have one question though. Since we're kind of closing the circle.
What kind of question is it?
No, it's very, very industry specific. So, like Cynthia mentioned, you and Lou DiBella have been doing it for a long time, putting off a women's boxing, showcasing women's boxing. How do you? And so now it's all the conversation is. Eddie Hearn and Jake Paul are doing everything for women's boxing. And I'm not trying to trap you into like a clickbaity answer or anything like that. But Lou, F. So we know how Lou responds. When you see all of this and all these praise and kudos being heaped upon them, it's like, hold on, I crawled so these dudes could run. So how do you feel when you just see they're solely responsible for bringing women to the forefront?
Great question, Jay. That's why I love doing the show with you.
I don't know. I'm just happy with anyone getting the spotlight. So, we did the 2 fights with Layla Ali. We had Sinisa Estrada, who's a tremendous champion. We had her on 3 of our shows.
She was on Golovkin Monroe.
Yeah.
And so I'm just happy that that female boxing is getting the spotlight it deserves. I actually went with Cecilia and with Callum out to Madison Square Garden to watch that fight with Katie Taylor and with Serrano, and it was a tremendous atmosphere. It was you talk about the Superfly shows that we used to do with Chocolatito.
Yeah, my favorite.
And that was a great atmosphere because we had so many international fighters. It was like a soccer atmosphere, and it was the same thing when you had the Irish fans versus the Puerto Rican fans. And so I was happy to see that show sold out Madison Square Garden. I'm happy to see the fight, the Savannah Marshall against Costa Shields. So I don't hold any. I mean, there's no resentment if they can take it and bring it to a different level. It's great. I think it's great for the sport of women boxing, and as long as they're evenly matched up fights, and the deeper competition that you get, the better that they'll rise. I'm working with a young 17-year-old fighter, Chantel Navarro, who actually we signed a Nike deal with.
I saw her
with her father Nacho to manage Nacho. Navarro, and Chantel's a tremendous talent, and so I'm always trying to support the female boxing on the shows, just like we have this fight with for the WBC international title between Chelsea Anderson on the August 4th show and Aida. I can't say her last name properly, so I don't want to butcher it, but she's from Kazakhstan, and that's actually on social media become kind of a rivalry with Aaron Tohill training Chelsea Anderson. So make sure to watch that. Well,
I like her. All right, Tom. Well, there's so much more to talk about. We're gonna have to bring you back on the show, and then also, is Cecilia in Europe right now training, or is she?
No, she's training over here. She's training with Jonathan Banks.
Okay, well then we're gonna have to have her on the show, so it's not an 8-hour difference. Can you let her know?
She's here on the LA time zone.
Okay, I'm gonna text you a checklist of all the names that we want. Gennadiy, Jonathan Banks, everyone, and we will coordinate. And then Jeandra, you have to go to the shows because they're so fun.
I've been to one for sure. I think I went to one of the first ones.
Okay,
first 360 show. Tom, how do you keep your ego in check? You still
He's like, I got no ego.
You don't.
He doesn't, which I love.
You truly don't. And that is a testament to your longevity.
I just try to do the best that I can. You know, sometimes you're on top of the sport when, we had the two heavyweight champions at the same time with the Klitschko brothers. And then, Triple G being the best middleweight that was out there. Biggest, one of the biggest names in the sport, the Superfly shows with Chocolatito. I'm just happy for the success and the honor that I've been able to work with all these fighters. Kevin Kelly was the first fighter that I worked with, and I don't compare my success to what other people are doing. I just try to do the best that I can do, and if I can do a good job now working with Dana and bringing boxing onto UFC Fight Pass, I think that'll open up a lot of doors, just like what Jake Paul's doing, exposing boxing to a lot of his fan base. I think the UFC fan base, if you put on some compelling fights and some competitive, entertaining fights, I think you can really open up the sport of boxing to UFC Fight Pass subscribers.
Good, and you can get us on there. Anyway, all right, Tom, we got to get going, but thank you for joining us, and you guys tune in to Tom Loeffler's 360 Hollywood Fight Nights. Get tickets if you are in the LA area, Quiet Canyon Country Club in Montebello, California. If not, get it on UFC Fight Pass.
Yes.
It's fun. It's so fun. I mean, it would have been better if I was hosting it.
You guys both need to come to the show, August.
I'm trying. I have to find a babysitter. My son is not. I can't leave him.
We're bringing him to the fight.
Right? I totally would. I totally would. Okay, Tom, but thank you again. And I can't wait to see who's going to win, Canelo versus Gennadiy. I can't wait to see all the fights. It's going to be fun. And we'll see you in Vegas.
That's going to be a tremendous trilogy, September 17th. In Las Vegas. Don't miss that one. That'll be tremendous.
I expect special passes for Jeandra and I to have some kind of access.
I just need the after party passes.
Can you believe in the second one, after I hosted the entire thing, I wasn't even invited to the after party, yo?
I mean,
can you believe this? I was Team Gennadiy. I worked Team Gennadiy. And Jessica Rosales worked Team Canelo. And I was even invited to the after party.
Because we go into the real party.
Oh, that'd be fun. Okay, Tom, we got to wrap. But thank you again. So, yes, and you guys, again, make sure, I don't know what camera I'm looking at, but I'll look at the middle one. But thank you again. And make sure you guys tune into UFC Fight Pass August 20th. Excuse me, not August 20th.
And we'll put
August
it in post.
4th. We'll put it in post. Thanks, Tom. We appreciate you. Bye.
Great to see both of you again.
Bye. No, miss you guys. Oh, Jay, that was fun. Tom is always great to talk to.
I mean, we can talk to Tom probably for like a good 2-3 hours because he has such a legacy.
Oh my God.
And
People
he probably
just don't know.
Because he's so low key. And low key guys.
Oh, wait, he's done. Okay, so when they hang up, Alex, we have to close the show still.
Yeah, we're recording.
Oh, we are? Oh. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, ready, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, so Tom has such the amount of knowledge he has and the fighters he's had. I mean, like I said, we have Gennadiy, we have Klitschko, he had Layla Ali, he had all of the HBO.
Kelly,
I mean, Jesus,
a long storied history in the sport.
A really good
and
one.
He's such a cool guy. And the fact that he's so laid back and quiet tells me he has the bombest stories,
right? And
because he's listening and he's not talking.
He's not very braggadocious. He's just like, well, let my fighters and let my numbers speak for itself.
Absolutely.
And that's why maybe that could be the secret.
That's the secret. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Do the work.
Yeah. Put your head down and just like us, we're gonna now shut up soon.
We ain't shutting up. We still talking because it's the best women's boxing show. Period.
All right. On that end, remember, like, share, subscribe. All of our interviews on YouTube. We dropped, like I said, every Tuesday, Thursday, 12 p.m. Pacific time. We drop a new episode those days. So you guys tune in, TikTok, Instagram, all of our socials. And again, you'll see us again very soon. Thanks, Jeandra. I'm Cynthia Conte.
And I'm Jeandra LeBeauf.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Best Women's Boxing Show. Period. See you guys at the fights. Bye, guys.
West Side.
Bye.